So we are Vestige Finance. So for those of you that are here and interested in this session, you must like money. What we do is we actually help people strategize a way to do contract funding. So most of us here are solutions providers. We have a piece of hardware, we have a software, and some type of service. And the end goal is to actually get that customer into a service contract, right? 2, 3, 4, 5 years. 3 years is pretty typical in this industry. What we're doing is we're actually funding that contract up front. And we become the billing and collecting on the back end. So as he's setting up the laptop, a lot of these programs out there are hitting the consumer market. So Verizon's doing it with Verizon Edge. Apple just announced that they're actually going to be creating a rental program for their next iPhone. Ours is a rental program for whatever device or solution that you guys are going to provide to your customer. So 75% of our portfolio is fleet, asset, and activity tracking. So as an example would be $19.99 per month for that one device, right? We would actually fund you guys about $610 up front and actually doing the billing and collecting on the back end. To the actual customer, a lot of people ask me, with the word finance, what's the interest rate? What's the APR? That's a common question. The documents are actually customer facing. So the customer is never going to see an interest rate. You sell them at a $19.99 solution, they're going to see a $19.99 per month solution. So the difficult part about reoccurring revenue or building some type of pass-through for your customers is gaining the capital up front to sustain up until month 12, 13, when you guys become profitable. So we actually help solutions providers by doing 25% of their portfolio, 50% of their portfolio, whatever they need to get extra capital up front. So we focus on the word as a service. As a service, that terminology is thrown out there very loosely, and you can really create anything as a service, whether it's desktop as a service, laptops as a service, GPS as a service, service as a service. You can really create anything as a service. So, again, who we are, we specialize in blank as a service. You tell us what product you guys are selling, and we will actually consult with you to create an as a service model. Like I said, most of you guys are going to have some piece of hardware, software, and service. Bundle that all together, recognize that revenue up front, and again, we become that billing and collecting company on the back end. Okay? Our goal is to help our partners build their business for a better cash flow. So whether that's doing 100% of your portfolio or only 25% of your portfolio. We have some vendors that only do large transactions with us because they don't want to take that risk. If that one customer were to stop paying, they'd lose thousands a month, right? So we actually take that risk for them. There's absolutely no risk to our vendors, okay? Once we fund you guys, again, we're the billing and collecting. We build that partnership. Oftentimes we may come back to you and say, it may be best to shut off their service simply because they stopped paying us, but we're not going to ask for our money back. We're not in the refund business. So, as a service, like I said, you can take anything. Whether it's a GPS unit, a desktop, whatever it is. The goal is to lock your customer into a 2 to 5 year contract. So a lot of people ask me, well, what's the difference between Vestige Finance and equipment financing? Another lender out there, right? Well, our agreement is a subscription as a service document. Customer facing, it is a rental contract, and the key to that rental contract is it makes it much easier for you guys to refresh that contract at the end of the term. Okay, so if you do a 3-year term with your customer and the customer is in a rental, they will go into a month-to-month, but they are more inclined to refresh that contract with you guys, and it's another touch point for you to upsell them. Maybe a new platform release, maybe a new device that they can have, etc. So with our contract, it's obviously non-cancelable, so it keeps it easy for us to refresh our customers. So here's what as a service looks like. This is from the consumer side. So what I did was I took an example from Verizon Wireless, okay? Everyone has an iPhone or some type of smartphone, right? When you walk into Verizon Wireless, the most popular plan out there was buy your phone for $200 get an activation fee. You owe me $240, and you're still going to have to pay us on a monthly basis, right? In our industry, M2M or IoT, it's known as device purchase plus monthly. You know, if they do purchase that device up front. Now, Verizon is really pushing the Verizon Edge program. Why? Because they're actually gaining more revenue by this rental program. They can actually recognize that revenue for full MSRP, not a discounted price, and actually increase their ARPU. Okay? So right now, if you imagine what you guys are selling today on the right-hand side, you can actually start to advertise that you're going to give them a device or a piece of hardware for free. You can advertise a lower activation fee. And as you can see, the differences between the two is really only $7 a month, really. If you also want to upsell them, selling an extra $1, extra $2, whatever it may be, it's a lot easier of a sell than telling the customer they're going to owe you $200 up front. If you're a hardware reseller and moving into this as a service business, there's a sticker shock when you move into the solutions business. And that is you guys are used to selling a piece of hardware, gaining that revenue up front, and then moving on, right? With a service-based company, you have to bill and collect. You have to pay if your customer is actually going to pay on time or not. You have to pay an accounting person. You have to pay a collections person. And you don't know if they're going to pay. That's the value add of Vestige Finance. We're going to pay you up front so you can get your cash flow, injection of cash flow into your business, and go from there. Any questions when it comes to this slide? No? So here's some key points about Vestige Finance that I want to touch on. So it obviously makes your business more competitive. It's another offering. So if you guys are already offering some type of service plan and it is a device purchase plus monthly, we'll actually help you create an as-a-service type model, a true monthly, true OpEx opportunity that's competitive with your device purchase plus monthly. Okay? Upfront revenue, I keep saying it because that's probably our largest advantage. It's 2 to 5 years. Minimum of 2, yes. So if you're already offering a month-to-month package, as an example, that is a value add to customers, but on a month-to-month, that customer can drop off at any point. And they're still signing a contract on a month-to-month basis. So the customer's already used to signing a contract, so we see it's not a big hinder for them to actually sign a 2 or 3 year contract. But they can cancel at any time. But like I said, this is another offering. So if you want to offer month to month, maybe it's a cheaper plan if they were to go with a 2 or 3 year contract. You know, that's oftentimes what it is when you walk into Verizon or AT&T. What name is on the bill? That's a great question. So we do have a customer-facing document. It's a vendor services group. So it won't say Vestige Finance. It won't seem like a equipment financing agreement or anything like that. It's vendor services, so that way anyone can use it. Even the invoices that go out on a monthly basis are vendor services. We can white label that actual document. It depends on the volume that you put through. Usually we need about anywhere from 250 to 500,000 originations per month to do a white label program. Better? All right. So as far as improving your cash flow, that's the upfront revenue recognition, right? Many of you guys can get your customer to sign a 3-year contract, but to recognize that revenue for the first year is pivotal. You can actually utilize that within your business to hire more salespeople, hire a marketing person, expand your building, do other marketing initiatives where you can't do that if you have to budget accordingly from your operating expenses. You obviously eliminate the risk. That's our biggest value add, right? You're eliminating the risk to the actual, to your actual bottom line, and we're doing the billing and collecting. We still create a reoccurring sales model for you guys, whether it's not month to month, it is on a 2 to 3 year contract, but that renewal that hardware as a service, that software as a service, whatever it is, the renewal at the end of the contract is key. And obviously you can increase your profit margin. There is like an invoice discount on the back end, so many of our customers or many of our vendor partners are actually increasing the monthly payment by $1 or $2 to actually increase their profit margin. It's easier to do that on a monthly payment than it is actually on a hardware sale itself. So any other remaining questions? Don't want to walk towards there. What's your question, sir? So it doesn't reflect on you because there's absolutely no vendor risk. There's no chargebacks. I won't come back. No, there's absolutely no recourse. Nope. Yes, so our agreement is customer-facing, so the actual end-user customer is signing our document. That's correct. Oftentimes, we're putting your service contract in the middle of the document package because your contract is still important to them. Your service contract is disclosing what you're responsible for, etc. Yes, it'll continue to go on a month-to-month basis, but we actually go back to you at the end of the contract term and say this customer is about 90 days up on their contract, 120 days. You might want to resell them a new 2 to 3 year contract. But month to month, no, there's no evergreen. Good question. You can add insurance, absolutely. Yeah, you can add insurance, installation, upfront services, whatever that may be. Maybe it's a development work for that actual customer to build a custom solution. We can actually put that development work cost into the actual solution. Okay. Our average deal size, we don't have an average. Our minimum is $1,000 on that actual invoice, and we'll teach you guys how to invoice us. Just come to booth 1919, we'll teach you how to invoice. But as in regards to the maximum size, we don't have a maximum size. So we can do multi-million, we can go all the way down to 1,000. If you're selling less than 1,000, I don't know if the program's right for you. Anything else? Excuse me?
IAS 16, the accounting treatment for a deal like this, would you need to reflect anything on the balance sheets in terms of future
revenue?
What's the accounting treatment for a deal like this?
The accounting treatment is when you actually get that funding, it's like a hardware sale. So everything is recognized within year one. You may want to get with your accountant because there is ways to recognize that revenue over that 3-year term. But I'm not an accountant. I just sell money. What's that?
So I like the fact that you've got the customer being the obligation person.
Yep.
Just out of curiosity, can you talk, is there any particular vertical markets that have been really successful for you? Where are people needing you the most?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say 75% of our portfolio is GPS tracking based. So whether that's fleet tracking, asset tracking, activity tracking, that's pretty much our bread and butter. But we can do a lot of mobility stuff, so tablets, desktops, anything in the IoT industry, we can actually look at every booth and pretty much do a solution for them.
Okay, and is the Food Safety Modernization Act impacting you in any way, shape, or form? Or are you?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Ken, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.